this will include clause 4, 5, 6, and 7. It is visible. There is no issue. Now, as the AS 9100 2016 structure, we are going to today talk on context of the organization, leadership, planning, and support. This includes 4 clauses, and by session 3 will be on the operation, except 8.3, that is design and development. Because design and development very specific area, we'll have separate session on that. Session 4 will be on clause 9 and 10, and I will try to include 8.3 design and development in that session, that is session number 4. If you see the changes in AS 9100, there are total approximately 90 to 95 new requirements has been added in the as a subclause or part of the subclause in Aerospace standard AS 9100 2016. Over and above ISO 9001 2015 standard requirements. In today's session, clause 4, 5, 7 has approximately 7 new requirements as a subclause, and maximum, that is in clause number 8, there are 80 new requirements has been added in clause 8, which will be in session 3. Let us start the context of the organization. This is clause number 4. Most of the requirements are common with the ISO 9001, but where are the specific requirements for AS Aerospace, I have highlighted in yellow color, and I will be stressing more on that. And other area, of course, which is common, I will be going through the touching the basic requirements. The context of the organization, that is 4.1, is defined as the combination of external and internal issues. These issues has impact on organization approach in developing and achieving its objective. It can express as organization environment. Example of external issue are legal, technological, competitive, market culture, social and economic environment. Internal issues are values, culture, knowledge, and performance. Internal and external issues relevant to the organization to be considered when you are making the organization strategy. That is very much required. You may be identifying many internal and external issues, but we have to screen to what is relevant to the organization. That is important for the determining the organization strategy or making the organization strategy. Once external and internal issues are determined, information related to them must be monitored and reviewed periodically to keep up to date. Here, no formal documented information is needed in AS also, as well as ISO 9001. But now auditor has to approach through the interview with the top management. The evidence may be adequate to demonstrate review of its context has been considered as an input into QMS planning. That is the work of auditor, how he will verify these clauses is meeting or not. 4.2 of clause number 4, understanding the needs, expectation of interested parties. Require an organization to determine those interested parties that are relevant to QMS. An interested party is the person or organization that can be affected by a decision or activity. Example of the interested party can be defined as management and staff, customer, partners, authority relevant to organization. Once interested parties are determined, information related to that shall be monitored and reviewed periodically to keep updated. That is more important. There is no requirement to obtain documented information. Here also, we need not to keep the document, but again, auditor, generally these issues are most of the time you have to consider for when determine or planning your strategy or future plan of the organization. The auditor must, that's why auditor has to interview with the top management or maybe the head of the department, but it is expected that the organization would keep some account of its analysis in the form of investor meeting, database, quality, manual, or spreadsheet, whatever, that it should relate to how organization has determined the requirement of interested party. That is very important. Now we'll go to 4.3. That is a scope of quality management system. While determining the scope of quality management system, which has been referred in 4.1 and 4.2, product and services of the organization to be considered when determining the boundary of the scope of QMS. Then when the scope of QMS, when it is defined, though this 4.3 was the scope of quality management system, I told you this while determining the scope of quality management system, I referred in 4.1, 4.2, as you can see in the standard that here organization to be considered when the determining the boundary of scope of QMS. Here exclusion term has been replaced by the applicability. And applicability to QMS depends on size, model, activities, and nature of risk and opportunity. Where the requirements are not applicable to the organization and this cannot be cause of failure to achieve the conformity of products and services or enhance customer satisfaction, then only part of the requirement shall be considered as not applicable. Here I want to say this earlier version, it was a clause wise, it was organization has a freedom to make the exclusion, but here they have to prove it why this certain clause is not applicable, and if it is not affecting the product performance or product quality, then only organization have freedom to say certain area is not applicable. The scope needs to be maintained as documented information stating its product and services and just for not applicable. Here, documented information is must, why and with justification, why certain clauses are not applicable. So, determining the scope of QMS, there are three major factors which is considered here: internal and external issues, requirement from the product and services, expectation of interested parties. The 4.3 also says about the justification for the requirement. Already I have told you, and now we'll go to next slide. 4.4. 4.4 is the quality management system and its processes. This is almost common to ISO 9001. Certain condition has been added here. That is, the organization quality management system shall also address customer and applicable statutory and regulatory quality management system requirements. The 4.4 has a general discussion where it says organization shall establish, implement, maintain, and continually improve. Here, little bit I want to clarify. Here, establishing means how to achieve requirements of the organization does not currently accomplished. Means any organization willing to take the registration or certification of AS9100, then he has to fulfill the all requirements, which he has to analyze basically what are the things I am not going to, I am not doing, that he has to put an effort to meet the requirements. Next word is implement. Implementing involves training and guidance of the person to follow new system. As everybody is understood the term. Maintaining is the audit activity repeated many times to make ready for the registration. That is meaning of maintaining. Continual improvement refers to promote culture of the improvement. Culture of the improvement means organization should have proper system, proper process for the improvement, and there will be culture which there should be transparency, and organization should promote or make awareness among the employee for the improvement. As I told you, the QMS of the organization shall also address customer and applicable statutory requirement. Here only stress has been given in AS. The statutory and regulatory requirement has to be addressed by the organization, and it should be part of the quality management system. Of course, statutory and regulatory requirement also is there in ISO 9001, but here, since this is a aerospace requirement, has little stringent statutory regulatory requirement, and every country has certain statutory requirement or regulatory requirement for aerospace functioning or any flying object. So that's why here this clause has been added, because always in aerospace regulatory requirement always are attached with the production unit. Like if India you see, there is a DGCA either for the passenger aircraft, DGAQA for the military aircraft. So they have own requirement for the production organization or MRO organization that shall meet by the organization. Now 4.4 subclause 4.4.1. The best feature of this standard is flexibility. Organization has freedom to set its structure based on its business and environment in which it operates. Once QMS process is identified, the organization determines the input, output, sequence, interaction, control, criteria, resources, responsibility, authority, risk, and opportunity. This quality management system and processes, of course, every organization have his own processes. So standard does not specify any processes, but organization has freedom to define his processes, but he has to identify the input, sequence, interaction, and control that shall be identified by the organization. Once implemented, from that point forward, the organization should continually evaluate the process to ensure ongoing compatibility, control changes when required, and improve its effectiveness. That is the AS standard says once process is identified, then this organization as per AS standard or ISO standard, once implemented, then onwards this continuous evaluation and any changes is there and improvement shall be the part of the process. Next is 4.4.2, that is to extent necessary, the organization shall here also in revised standard, organization has been given the ability to determine themselves what documented information they need to maintain to ensure processes are carried out effectively. Here, certain things have been added in AS standard. The new standard AS 9100/2016 requires documented information on quality policy, quality objective, in addition to organization shall also establish and maintain documented information, includes description of relevant interested party, scope of QMS, description of processes, sequence of interaction, assignment of responsibility and authority. This specific requirement is not mentioned in ISO 9001. This is all about this clause number 4, where we found very few changes have been done, especially in the documented information here. Otherwise, ISO 9001 2015 is almost requirement wise the same as a standard. Now next clause is clause number 5, leadership. This clause is all about the role of top management, which is the group of people who direct and control your organization at highest level. They need to ensure that the QMS and its requirements are integrated into the organization processes and the policy and objectives are aligned with the strategic direction of the organization. They also need to make sure that the QMS is made available, communicated, maintained, and understood by all parties. Okay. This is now 5.1.2, that is customer focus. The customer focus is an organization commitment in which all aspects of the company's production and delivery of goods and services are directed by best interest of customer. The new requirements are to ensure that risk and opportunity are determined and addresses when organization produces confirmed products and services and has ability to enhance customer satisfaction. This has been added in last revision when the risk and opportunity shall be determined to address the customer requirements. The second new requirements involve consistently providing products and services that meet customer statutory and regulatory requirements. That is there in the ISO 9001. But it is not a one-time activity. Of course, it is an ongoing process. Then here, para D has been added in AS 9100. That is, product and service conformity and on-time delivery performance are measured and appropriate action is taken if plant results are not or will not be achieved. That is an addition in AS 9100. This means following has to be measured. Measured may either in form of the key characteristic, not a very in form of the performance indicator. Organization has to measure product and service conformity, on-time delivery. This is stress has been given on on-time delivery and performance, appropriate action if it is not achieved. This means any organization having aerospace standard, that they have to measure this parameter and they have to act on that to achieve their plant delivery performance. Now we'll go to 5.2, that is about the establishing the quality policy. 5.2.1. Section 4 requires organization to identify, monitor and review internal and external issues that are relevant to its purpose and strategic direction. That is given in 4.2. In line with that, once it is done, it becomes obvious that quality policy must also be appropriate to the context as well as the purpose of the organization. Policy must be aligned with the organization strategic direction. There is no new addition in AS 9100. That requirement remains the same. 5.2.2, that is communicating the policy. Organizations shall to make sure that policy is available, maintained, communicated, understood, and applied within the organization. It also must be available to interested party as required. Nowadays, how to meet the all communication should be made more effective. That is best way. Posting to web is the that is very effective communication of quality policy. Now, 5.3 is the organization role, responsibility, and authority. Basically, to meet the above requirement, any employee within an organization shall be assigned certain responsibility and authority. It can not be just verbal. So, documented information must be maintained in order to make organization role and responsibility in for the people or the working under them. Again, power has gone off. Just I'll put a pause. Will now I am audible. So 5.3, as I told you, in AS 9100 2060 requirements of management representative is continued. If you see in 5.3 in ISO 9000, management requirement has been discontinued, MR requirement. But in AS, that is requirement they have continued. The AS additional clause you can see, which is now which has been added in AS. Top management shall appoint a specific member of the organization's management, identified as a management representative, who shall have the responsibility and authority for oversight of the above requirement. So this purpose of management representative was who the organization used to delegate some of the responsibility to management representative, and in AS also MR responsible for as per AS requirement, MR is responsible for ensuring conformance, deliver their intended outputs, reporting on QMS performance, promoting customer focus, and ensuring integrity of QMS. The MR is also responsible for the coordinating with the external parties on the matter of QMS and to resolve quality management issues. So, and in most of the organization, MR generally they appoint MR from the quality head of the quality, or maybe from other senior person from quality, because here you see in the AS clause they say they should organization freedom, and MR should have authority to take decision on quality issues. So that is a major difference in this. MR remains the requirement of MRs in AS is very much required. Now you go to clause number 6, that is planning. This clause focuses on how an organization plans actions to address both risk and opportunity. Considering of risk needs to be proportionate to the potential impact they may have, and opportunity could include new product launch or geographical expansion. That is a 6.1 he is talking about. Now we go to 6.1, clause number 6.1 and 1. That is, the concept of risk-based thinking is not only a large part of new standard, but it is very important for all the organization. It says organization to determine risk and opportunity considering issues raised and requirements identified. It can be understood as identifying and addressing potential mistakes before they happen. That is a risk. How you define the risk? Only that is we supposed to identify the potential mistake before they happen. Organization must provide evidence that they have determined, considered, and where necessary taken action to address risk and opportunity. The impact may be positive or negative on QMS or could impact customer satisfaction. That is how we define the risk. Failure mode effect analysis. Mostly it is used in design and processes, in design of the processes. This is one of the tools that can be applied to address this requirement. In aerospace industries, mostly we use failure mode effect criticality analysis, which is done at a design stage, which identify the risks of functioning of any system. I will go to 6.1.2. Once an organization, that is about the action against risk and opportunity, the organization has identified the risk and opportunity, it must then determine how to address them. It talks about how to address the risks once you identify. There are different way of addressing, and very much it is being practiced in aerospace industries. Once any incident or accident happens, then I am telling one of the example. Then you have to identify that this should not repeat. What is the risk of happening again and again? In that case, once you are addressing the risk, many things come out where we have to take decision to continue or to stop like in case of aircraft, to continue flying or stop the flying. Then how you tackle the risk? That is, option to address the risk can include avoiding risk, means deciding not to launch a new product because design is not matured. Once your risk is finding at a design stage, it is not, performance is not up to satisfactory, then avoiding risk means either you launch or you go for redesigning the things. Taking risk, continue with the plan and same time working on reducing risk. This is one way of tackling the risk. Where the risk is at a very low level of risk, eliminating the risk. That is the best way, redesigning the system and to eliminate the cause of failure. Changing likelihood means increasing preventive maintenance to avoid the potential failure. This is also commonly it is practiced in the aircraft industry. Any finding you found any risk is there during the flying, so that your maintenance practices is changed. Like certain things you have to check at monthly, every 10 flight or every month you have to check, then you reduce the frequency of checking. Means you have to check before every flight or maybe every week or every day. So that way you can minimize the risk. So anything is supposed to go happen, you can, by adding the additional check, you can it can be found out at early stage. Sharing the risk, joining in an evaluation or potential new supply. This is one way of, you find the new supplier and you can, that way you can share the risk so that the risk can be minimized. Retaining the risk. It's impossible to eliminate the risk, so decision is to proceed based on the informed decision. Of course, this informed decision generally does not take place in aircraft industries, but this is one way of tackling the risk. With informed decision, something risk is not possible to eliminate the risk. You cannot stop the things, then decision sometimes is taken based on the informed decision. Opportunity can lead to adoption of new practices, because this clause is talking about the risk and opportunity. Opportunity can lead to adoption of new practices, launching new products. This is one of the opportunity for the organization. Opening new market, addressing new customer, building partnership, using new technology based on the customer need. Next, 6.2 is the quality objective. Quality objective shall be measurable that directly impact to the customer. It is to be set at relevant function, level, and processes that are consistent with the quality policy of the organization. The quality objective is not necessarily only organization level shall be set. It can be at department level. It can be at process level also. The quality objective shall be consistent with the quality policy and shall be monitored, communicated, and updated as appropriate. It should be, we say it should be smart. It should be very specific. It should be measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. Always time is very important when we are going to achieve the quality objective. So it should be always smart. 6.2.2 is a planning to achieve them. It specifically requires organization to have process for planning how to achieve their objectives, including resources required, assigning the responsibility, completion date, and how results will be evaluated. This implies that now quality objective has become more specific in what the organization is trying to achieve. So a new standard, either into ISO or A standard, in both they have given very important of quality objective and achieving them with the time bound target. Planning for change, of course, nothing new in that. When the organization makes changes for the quality management system, this change can be due to company merger, new product line, construction of new plant, economic reasons, changes to quality management system. Changes need to be controlled to ensure that it is implemented correctly to achieve intended result. Now we'll go to clause number 7. This section of the standard is all about the getting the right resources, the right people, and the right infrastructure in place to meet the organization goal. Organization should make sure that resources are made available to do this. It could include training and personnel available when required. Personnel must not only be aware of the quality policy, but they must also understand how they contribute to it and what the implication for not conforming. This is basically this talking about in clause number 7. This is here 7.1 is the general. He talks about resources that include people, infrastructure, environment for the operation of the processes, resources used for monitoring and measuring of processes, and organization knowledge. It also includes the basic mandate that organization has adequate people to carry out requirement of quality management system. Now, here also there is no documented information for is required. It is not mandatory. Your auditor will like to find evidence that requirement of a standard could not be performed when needed because no one is available to do it or competent person is not available. How auditor is going to find this organization meeting this requirement or not? Is the only way. Anything going wrong, if it is pointed out the resource due to resources is not meeting the requirement, then you can say this is non-conformance on the resources. Seven 7.1.3 infrastructure. ISO standard defines infrastructure simply as equipment, facility, and services needed to carry out operation in the organization. The first requirement is that organization shall determine the infrastructure, provide and maintain necessary for the operation of the processes. Since auditor cannot find document or evidence for correct adequate infrastructure, it is very difficult to find the difficult for auditor to find the correct organization having correct infrastructure or not. So in that case, in the absence of this, when there is a evidence of non-conformance directly caused by lack of control of infrastructure element, then auditor can say this is non-conformance is due to infrastructure. Because here also mandatory document is not called for either in ISO or in AS standard. Seven point 1.4, the environment for the operation and processes. Here also no changes is there. Here standards say that organization shall determine, provide and maintain the environment necessary for the operation of the processes. Here one notable change from the previous standard is that word work has been removed prior to environment. It indicates environment includes the entire company, not only where product realization takes place. That is the purpose of removing the word work. They have made it only environment. Seven point 1.5, monitoring and measuring resources. In previous standard, it has been called control of measuring and monitoring equipment or device. Now this term resources replaces the word equipment. In addition to measuring and monitoring equipment, resource includes standards, training, instruction, and human factor such as eyesight and color determination. Here in AS also, AS standard, many places human factor is appearing. In this case, monitoring and measuring resource, here this human factor comes like eyesight and color determination, that can be called as a human factor. Other factor play here is interaction between human and equipment. The 7.1.5.2, measurement traceability. Measurement traceability is the property of measurement result that can be related documented record of the measurement. Thus, it is ability to prove the result is accurate. That is the meaning of measurement traceability. In AS 9100, here additional condition has been added. The recall process is added when defect is found after delivery. Of course, many industries, especially automobile industry, also following the recall process, but here it is a part of the standard. So defect is found after delivery or product and services. Hence, organizations shall establish, implement and maintain a process of recall for monitoring and measuring equipment required calibration and verification. So here organization has to maintain establish the process for recall process. That is mandatory as per the information, as per the standard. Measurement and traceability, here also many few requirements have been added. This addition in AS 910 is required the organization to maintain a register or master list of all the measuring and monitoring equipment, including unique identification, location, and the calibration and verification method, frequency and acceptance criteria. This is the additional thing which is not there in ISO. So they have to maintain, especially they have called meant to register, means list of item, list of measuring equipment, measuring monitoring equipment shall be maintained by the organization with the unique identification. And where it is kept, location also is, and calibration, periodicity and calibration method, of course, that is there in ISO. But here they are told either you maintain the register or short copy, whatever, shall be maintained by the organization. That is the additional requirement. Monitoring and measuring equipment can include, but not limited to, the test hardware, software, automated test equipment, and plotters used to produce verification data. These are all called as a motoring and measuring equipment. It also includes personally owned and customer supplied equipment. Especially they have mentioned either somebody is keeping his own equipment, using his own many. You must have experience in industries. This mechanic or operator. Generally, sometimes they make their own templates, their own tools for doing the manufacturing. They may not be part of your standard technology, but here also those things also should be comes under monitoring and measurement equipment. That should be identified, that should be recorded, that should be added in the list. Or customer supply. Sometimes you take help of customer for the measuring equipment. That also shall be included in the master list. Now we'll go to 7.1.6. This is organization knowledge. Here nothing, no addition is there in AS, but this means organization shall take step to capture preserved knowledge and learning for ensuring conformity of the products and services. Knowledge can be specific to organization. It is generally gained by experience. It can be based on internal resources like intellectual property, knowledge gained from the experience, lesson learned from the failure and successful projects. External resources can be standard, academia, conferences, gathering knowledge from the customer or external provider. This has been added into I think to 2015 version, and same has been transferred to AS standard also. Basic behind of this addition is to safeguard the organization from the loss of knowledge. That is very important for any organization. Sometimes knowledge and experience become a very specific property to the person or certain employee, but here standard itself says that should be transferred and it should be captured, it should be shared the information among the employees. So that should be encouraged in the organization. This is also very important point for the auditor, how to verify this point. This can be verified by the interview or by any non-conformity happening due to non-transfer of the knowledge. That evidence is the organization, then it comes to the organization knowledge. 7.2 competence. Competence for each position in the organization, the competence requirement must be determined. That is the requirement. Organization shall ensure personnel are competent, effective, and also documented information to be retained as evidence that personnel are competent, and it should be reviewed periodically. Skill mapping can be used to determine the competency. One requirement is added, that is the clause is applied to all the persons doing work which may affect the QMS. That is, any person who is working and is affecting the QMS, the competency clause is applicable to them. Person working under the contract or have been outsourced to external provider. That also includes any person under contract is working within the organization, premises of organization. There also you have to determine the competence. Or you are outsourcing the certain external provider, their person also comes under competence requirement of the competence. The competency of the people can be enhanced by training, reassignment, job rotation. This is very well known, or hiring of the competent person on contract. Consideration should be given to specific periodic review of necessary for the competency. This is must periodic review, otherwise there is no meaning of mapping the competency. Awareness. The ensuring awareness on quality policy, relevant quality objective, that is a requirement. The requirement has also been extended to include the benefit of the improved performance and implication of not conforming with quality management system. As AS there is a certain addition. Awareness on QMS document information. They are calling it QMS documented information that should be, they have added, people should be aware of the what type of document they are maintaining during the process in the organization. That awareness should be there for their work area. Of course, this is for work area. That is additional has been added. Contribution to product and service conformity. How they contribute to product and service conformity means if you're not getting conformed, if not getting conformed or something wrong is happening during the operation, they're supposed to know what will be implication of that. This is basically comes under awareness. Contribution to product safety and improve ethical behavior. This point has been added because in aerospace industries, it has very long service life, and anything happen in regard to safety or non-conformance, performance-related things, that it is must there should be, it should be addressed the person who is working, who has contributed in the production of the product. Otherwise, they will not be so much conscious about it. And we have seen the once technicians are aware of the implication consequences of not meeting the requirement, then they are more conscious and their quality will be always better. They will not make mistakes. That is important. The awareness has always been weakness in most of the organization, but you will find first thing is very difficult to verify the what level they are aware and how the organization is meeting this requirement. And this is also a weakness in the most of the organization, especially people working at a shop floor or serving, which we call it as an indirect department, which is not directly related to the production, maybe supporting department. Actually, internal auditor need to focus more on this area and should be addressed in internal audit when they publish. I told you this is very important area, but we generally don't think awareness is very much important for the safety of the product or getting the less and less non-conformance within manufacturing. Now we'll go to communication. 7.4. Communication includes external communication as well as the internal communication. The information organization will communicate are on what will communicate, like key performance indicator, when and how. This is I am telling one of the example. When and how to often communication periodicity should be defined, either monthly, quarterly, and yearly. To whom it should communicate, department head or general manager or the head of the organization. The communication should include external and internal feedback also. So here very well standard defined. There is nothing has been added in AS. The communication should be very clear, and there will be set communication periodicity also to be defined, when and how to be communicated. 7.4 documented information. It defines as information required to be controlled and maintained. Everybody knows maintained by the organization and the medium on which it is contained. As per standard. The extent of documented information differ from organization to organization. Literally, size and its activity, complexity, and of the processes and competence of the person. If you see in AS, there are 11 mandatory documents which call for shall be maintained, and there are 20 mandatory records as per AS standard. But if you go to ISO, there are they have not made all these documents are mandatory. This approval here, not much added. Only he says about the approval implies authorized person and approval method are identified for the given type of documented information as determined by the organization. This means each document shall be approved, and once it is approved, then person or level shall be defined. That is the addition in AS. that is not there in ISO standard. Here, a person who is authorized, what level of person to be authorized, that should be defined by the organization as a documented information. Seven point 5.3, that is control of documented information. That is, we will know organization to ensure the physical location of hard copies are identified, access or electronic version are controlled. That is like with the password protection. Documented information must be adequately protected from loss and physical damage and electronic copy from deletion. 7.5.3.2. Most of the organization uses electronic formats for their documented information. So access, control and authorization level is required to ensure current control are appropriate. This was in 2015 version has been added. Organization will have to consider how much system are protected and how access to documented information can be preserved in event of system unavailability. That is also important. Password protection. If organization choose to use electronic formats, they need to revisit access controls and authorization level in order to ensure present control is adequate. It says if anything is lagging in the organization, that to revisit and that should be corrected. They will also have to demonstrate how the integrity of their documented information is maintained. But only here, aerospace organization, aerospace standard, they have added like aerospace organization, absolute documented information required to be retained for the regulatory and statutory requirement. In ISO, once a document is changed, then change control, they have given the requirement of change control, but they're not spelled out the old document should be retained or not. That is not, it is not mandatory in ISO, the old document to be retained in the organization. It can be scrapped. But in case of aero industries, aerospace in AS standard, they have told the old document also should be retained for statutory and regulatory requirements, because here regulators need to refer sometimes old document if as a part of defect investigation or accident investigation. That's why here the requirement of retaining the old document has been added. Organization must clearly identify and prevent from the unintended use. That is of course required. Old document was preserving, retaining, then it should be prevent from the use. By mistake also it should not be used. Now we'll go last. Here we can say when documented information is managed electronic, data protection processes shall be defined. That is protection from the loss, unauthorized changes, unintended alteration, corruption, physical damage. This is the addition in the subclause. This means once you are soft copy, you are managing with the soft copy, or you can say manage electronically, then like in hard copy, we are protection from loss, unauthorized changes, we are doing it. Same should be, system should be maintained in the soft copy while you maintaining the documented information. So this external audit document shall be identified and be completed. This is the, I think, the last requirement. Now I'm concluding with clause number 7. And if you see the maximum changes in clause number 8, product realization, you can say, because here, of course, you find changes are very less addition is there, not much, but maximum is clause number. When you go to clause number 8, lot of things will be there to discuss or to understand what is changed from ISO to AS. This I am ending my presentation, and anybody having question, you can ask me. Any question, please?
I have not got any questions from any of the participants as of now, sir. But yes, if any of the participants have any questions on what we discussed today on the AS 9100D standard, that was the 4 clauses which were discussed today, clause number 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the standard. So they can always put in their questions in the comment section of this particular webinar, which will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. And we will be transferring those questions to Mr. Sinha, and he will be definitely happy answering them. We can now come to the conclusion of this particular session. I would say that this session has been fruitful for us, as the first session was to understand the basic requirements of AS 9100 standard. What are the requirements which are being set in this particular standard under the 4 clauses which were discussed today, that is 4, 5, 6, and 7. And the way Mr. Sinha has produced this information in front of us is very descriptive, was very descriptive and knowledgeable as well, and has helped us in understanding the concept of this aerospace standard, which is a very typical one and a complex thing to understand. I again thank Mr. Sinha from the bottom of my heart for accepting our invitation to conduct this webinar, the second session which we have conducted today, and we will be coming up with the final session of this particular standard, in which the 3 remaining clauses, that is 8, 9, and 10, will be discussed by Mr. Sinha soon. I also thank all the participants for giving their valuable time to attend this particular webinar, and I hope that you must have enjoyed the context of the webinar as well. I look forward to all of you in future as well in joining our webinars, and please share and subscribe our channel as well, so that we are able to share with you as much as knowledge as we can. Thank you all of you for your time and participation. See you soon with an exciting new topic in the next session. Thank you so much.
Okay, I want to tell thank you to all participants. Of course, there was little disturbance, so I'm really sorry for that. I will take care for any next session due to power cut here. Anyhow, that can be very well managed for next session. So this session, of course, in session number 2, where I explained the clause number 4 to 7, and there was less changes in that. But clause number 8, there are many changes. I think that will be more interesting to know. You people are more interested to know that what are the changes in the aerospace standard compared to the ISO standard. So we'll plan next session, that is session number 3. And thank you for all for patiently listening. Any question you can forward me. I can clarify you very well. Thank you all. We'll meet again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.